Greetings. I have a little spell work that I'm working on today, and I thought you might want to see that, at least to the extent that I can share. I did a couple videos a while ago on using poppets. I don't know if you can see this box here or not, but I have my box here. And here's a poppet, one of my poppets. I did I guess that's not really good. There you go. I did a couple of videos that I featured these poppets in. One of them was when I was collecting daughter. I saved the daughter, the field daughter, which is really very powerful for use in different kinds of knot magic. It's good for binding and things like that, but it's also good for healing, giving very, very strong, where you want to add a lot of strength to a spell, like a healing spell or a love spell or something where you're really, or especially passion, something involving passion. So anyway, I made these poppets with the intention of storing the magic for future use, so that I already have the magic that I put into them originally with the daughter, which is inside. I also used some of my hand-spun, hand-dyed yarn to feature a base on the poppet. But right now, it's just a general poppet. It's not for any specific purpose. But using a poppet is what we call sympathetic magic, where we actually take a poppet, some kind of a doll or a wax figure or a clay figure. In this case, it's a fabric. It's made of fabric, stuffed in my case with daughter. It doesn't have to be. That's just my preference for this kind of a spell that I'm doing. And we're going to baptize it or name it. Give it a name, make it a specific, to represent a specific person. Now, of course, I'm not going to say who the person is, and it really doesn't matter to you who the person is, because you wouldn't know them anyway. I'm not even going to tell you what kind of magic I'm doing, because it doesn't matter. Everything that you do, any kind of a spell, has to be specific for your own intention. And my intention is my own. What I'm using for my intention is my own. So you might be questioning some of the things I have here. I will tell you what I have, but I'm not going to really tell you why. That's just my prerogative. It's private. I do want to say before we start, I've had some conversations with other people, especially when we're talking about using things for binding or hexing or cursing or things like that. I want to say exercise extreme caution. I myself do not do anything that harms. I would never do a spell that will harm another person. I have spoken of some of the binding work that I have done in the past, and I got some criticism for it. People warning me that what I put out will be brought back, and I do understand that, but I do not seek to harm anyone. When I'm talking about hexing, when I'm talking about binding someone, first of all, I'm talking about a behavior, not a person necessarily, but a certain behavior that I might want to bring a halt to. So anyway, that being said, be sure your intention is absolutely clear what your spell is for, okay? And be very, very specific. And in this case, you're going to also take some time and write your intention very, very clearly on a piece of parchment, a piece of paper, and that's going to be attached to your poppet. That's called a tag lock. Things that we attach to the poppet or put with the poppet to help to identify first of all, the person that it represents, and secondly, what we wish, what is the purpose of the spell. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm clearing here with a little bit of sage. I cleared my space. Put it a little close to my disc because I want to, it'll go out. Doesn't matter. I want to be burning some dragon's blood incense, and I have some dragon's blood right here that I'm going to be using. Anyway, the first thing that I want to do with my Poppet is I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it. Some people say they're going to baptize it. And for this point, I'm going to use a Sharpie. And I'm going to write on the back, my name is, and I'm going to take it off camera so that you do not see what I write, because it's private. So I will turn that over, what the name of my Poppet is. And then the other thing that I'm going to do before I go any further, I'm going to attach some more tag locks to the Poppet. And I have said in the past that I have made mine with a little pocket here. You can maybe see there's a little pocket. And that's where I'm going to be attaching some things. So first of all, I have my intention, very specific words written on parchment that I'm going to fold up small. And I'm going to be saying, I have this in my head. I'm going to say it over and over what it is that I want to attach, what I want to have happen with this Poppet. Another thing I'm going to put in the pocket is I have a photograph of the person. So I have named it on the back. I have put my intention in the pocket. I'm attaching a photograph. And then I'm going to put a few more things in the pocket. One of which is, I have here cloves. You can see a couple cloves. This is a time you can put any kind of herbs in there. What your choice is, stick them down in there. I have some peppercorns that I'm going to put in there. Whoops. Just a few. Again, I have chosen things based on what my intention is for the Poppet. These might not be things appropriate to you. And I'm going to attach a chili. And I'm going to put that in there. And now, you see the reason for the pocket? I could either pin it, or I could take embroidery thread, and that's daughter coming out. The holes that I'm making, don't even worry about it. And I'm going to just sew this up nice and tight. All the while, I'm thinking about what it is that my intention for this Poppet is. Doesn't have to be beautiful. Your intention has to be clear. That's all that counts. And your long locks seem to want to get caught up in there, so. Now, it helps. Now, you don't have to, again, your Poppet could be as simple as, you know, a stone with a person's face on it, or just cut out a piece of paper. I like to have things already made and stored in my box, in my cupboard, for these times. Okay. That's one way to cut a thread. Okay, so I'm all sewed up. I'm all sewed up. And my Poppet has been baptized, has been named, and tag locks have been attached in the pocket. So I'm going to pass it through the smoke of the dragon's blood. Okay. And I'm going to do this part, I'm going to do another part in ceremony where I'm going to be taking and wrapping the poppet up in a black cloth. And I'm going to be adding some more things to the cloth when I do that. Some of the things I do not want you to see, so I'm going to probably edit those out of here. And then I'm going to tie everything up in a bundle. I'm going to tie it all in a bundle with the tag locks sewed into the poppet. Okay, I'm going to put some oil. I've got some black cat oil. And by the way, this oil, I got the recipe from Lady Grave Dancer, and I will put that, the link to her video. It's a couple years old, but it's a really good video. I've used this black cat oil in the past. It's a really good oil for quite a few things. It's really good for what my intention is here. So I have some black cat oil I'm going to dress my poppet with. I'm going to dress my poppet with some graveyard dirt. Pass it through smoke a few times in between. Put it in the black cloth and wrap it up with a few more things, a few more items in the cloth. Tie it all up in a bundle. And then what we do with poppets, we keep them out of sight. It's important that we keep them out of sight. And what I like to do is bury them, which is another reason that I like to use things that are going to biodegrade in the ground. The only thing that should be left when we're done with this is the button. The only sign of it. So I'm going to turn on a little bit of music in the background. If you want to watch me do this, you're welcome to do this. Again, I might be cutting some of this out so that you don't see it, so the music might interrupt, because some things are personal that I'm putting in with my poppet, and then I'll show you. I'll show you to the end where it's being buried. Okay. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope I do not offend. I want to warn you one more time that if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to use it for something like a binding or banishing or something strong like that, be absolutely sure of your intent. Do not put any intent to harm another person, because I think you're going to regret that. We don't want to ever put out harm for another person. We can stop an action without hurting a person, and that's... But also, be careful if you're going to use the poppet for a love spell or binding another person to you that does not wish to be bound to you. That is harmful to the person as well. So just give careful thought before you do any kind of spell like this, especially something strong enough that is going to use something like my daughter inside. Any kind of not magic S2 is very strong. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the music and enjoy the music.